Hello and thank you for joining me. I am Piper Ann Patterson, Miss Kentucky Junior High 2021, and I am very excited to welcome you to Book It to Brave. If you are a first-time listener, you might be asking yourself, what is Book It to Brave? And why is it important to me? I'm so glad you asked. Book It to Brave is one of my personal platforms aimed at empowering others to read out loud, while being brave, which stands for building respect and values for everyone. I used to avoid reading or even speaking in public for fear of getting teased or even made fun of, especially since I had so many others be bullied for the same thing. But luckily, I learned to be true to myself and not let the fear of others stop me from sharing my voice, while also sharing my love for reading, because as I always say, readers make leaders. So I'm leading the charge by reading one children's book each night and posting it live onto my YouTube channel. I will also be donating each book that is read to various charities, shelters, and daycares around my beloved state of Kentucky, hoping to inspire you tonight to find your voice and volunteer to read and make a difference in someone's life while remembering to be brave. It truly does take a lot of courage, so here we go. Tonight's story is Finding Nemo, Fish School. Let's dive in. Nemo loved everything about school. He loved swimming there every day with his dad. He loved his classmates, he loved his teachers, and he loved to learn. And he really loved field trips. Even though on his very first field trip, he was fish-napped by a scuba diving dentist and brought to an office aquarium in Sydney. But that's another story. Every morning, Nemo's dad, Marlin, would take him to school. Along the way, Nemo always liked to ask his dad lots of questions. "What is a whale's tongue like, Dad?" Nemo asked. "Well, it's kind of big," and Marlin began. "How many clownfish can a shark eat in one gulp?" Nemo wondered. "Well, I guess it depends on the size of the..." Marlin started. "Actually, why are we called clownfish?" Nemo asked. "You're not even funny at all." Nemo saw his best friend Tad, Pearl, and Sheldon. They loved to play tag and algae in the middle before school started. Mr. Ray was on the schoolyard duty that morning. He was everyone's favorite teacher. Nemo and his friends had a special song they made up just for him. "He's our favorite teacher, hip hip hooray, for the big spot in Manta, we love Mr. Ray." Then it was time for school to begin. The first class of the day was music, taught by Senor Seaweed. Nemo and his classmates were getting ready for the spring concert. Nemo played the conch shell. Sheldon played the clams. The clams didn't like that very much. Tad strummed along some kelp, and Pearl played sand dollar tambourines. Mr. Ray taught science. Today's lesson is your favorite ocean home. Mr. Ray called on Nemo. "Where do you live?" he asked. "An anemone. A memony, said Nemo. "Nemo lives in an anemone," said Mr. Ray. "While the rest of us would be hurt by its stings, Nemo brushes himself against it every day so that the stings don't bother him." The rest of the class looked at Nemo in awe. "That's right," Nemo said proudly. Then it was lunchtime. There were a lot of lunchroom rules. No inking in the lunch area, no throwing worms, no eating your classmates, no matter how tasty they looked. Nemo took out his lunch. "I'll trade you kelp sandwich for your algae pizza," he said. "Yum," said Tad. After lunch was recess. Yay! Everyone had so much fun playing hide and seek. But then Sandy Plankton got into a big trouble. "It's like my dad always says, it's all fun and games until someone gets stuck in a giant clam," said Nemo. Once Sandy was free, it was time for Nemo's next class. It turned out that there was a special guest teacher that day. "Dory!" "Hi, Elmo," she cried, waving her hand. Dory was teaching the class how to speak whale. "Repeat after me," she instructed. "What did you say?" the class asked eagerly. "I said hello," Dory exclaimed. Then it was show and tell time. Pearl brought in a cool piece of coral she had found, and Sheldon the seahorse had some big news. His dad was having babies. "Who wants to go next?" asked Mr. Hermit. Nemo raised his fin. "Tonight I have some very special visitors for you all to meet. Come right in, guys." Anchor, Bruce, and Chum swam in. "Pleased to meet ya," said Chum. "Don't worry, kids. We don't eat fish anymore. Well, we try not to anyway." After a brief question and answer period, the sharks left. Everyone breathed a huge sigh of relief. All too soon, it was time to go home. The students filed into the schoolyard to wait for their parents to pick them up. Nemo couldn't wait to see his dad and tell him all about the fun things that had happened that day. They sang the rest of Mr. Ray's song as they waited. "He's our science teacher, we think he's swell. Sometimes we act goofy, but he never does yell." "Aw, shucks," said Mr. Ray, looking pleased. Soon Nemo's dad arrived. "How was your day today, son?" he asked Nemo as they swam home. "Oh, Dad, it was awesome," Nemo cried. "Sandy got stuck in a clam, Dory taught whale, and I brought in the sharks for show and tell." He paused to take a breath. "I can't wait till tomorrow." Marlin shook his head sadly. "I'm sorry, Nemo. I can't let you go to school tomorrow. Because tomorrow's Saturday." The end. Please like and share my page, and thank you again. Signing off for today, I am Piper Ann Patterson, Miss Kentucky Junior High 2021, reminding you that in a world where you can choose to be anything, choose to be kind. And together, I know we can all end bullying. Thank you, and be sure to smile. Bye.